This is not the first time Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, known to millions as AOC, has caused an uproar in political circles. But what happened this time goes beyond the usual criticism. After holding a series of open online meetings for residents in her district, she decided to tell them what to do in the event of an ICE immigration raid. Her goal was nothing less than advocacy, protecting the basic rights of people in vulnerable situations. And it was for this that the wrath of the Donald Trump administration came down on her. In webinars, AOC explained what to do if someone tries to enter your home without a warrant. She talked about the right to silence, the prohibition against searches without court authorization, and how to behave so you don't become a victim of arbitrary behavior. But those steps were seen as a threat. Former ICE head Tom Homan has publicly accused her of helping illegals, and Donald Trump has hinted at the possibility of suing her. So why does the attempt to bring awareness of the law to the public provoke such fury? Perhaps because fear is their main tool. If people don't know they can defend themselves, they are easily manipulated. But AOC is not the kind of person who is afraid. She speaks plainly, and that pisses off those who prefer to operate in the shadows. You're watching Forgotten Roads, and if you think it needs to be spoken out loud, support us by subscribing and liking. We're not afraid to tell what others would rather keep hidden. Now let's break down exactly what AOC said, and why those words have caused a massive political conflict. AOC is not just a deputy. She is the voice of those who are rarely heard. And this time, she has used her platform to bring awareness to people that can literally save them from arbitrary behavior. In a recent webinar titled Know Your Rights, she explained in detail how everyone can and should protect themselves when faced with ICE immigration enforcement. Contrary to the speculation of her opponents, AOC made it clear. She speaks to all of her constituents. It doesn't matter if they have U.S. citizenship or not, because ICE, in the Congresswoman's own words, too often operates outside the law. She doesn't tell people to hide. She's not calling for resistance. She simply tells you how the U.S. Constitution works, and why even federal agents don't have the right to break into your home without a court order. However, former ICE head Tom Homan said she is allegedly helping illegals avoid accountability, and said he has already filed a complaint with the Justice Department. That statement is essentially an attempt to make the mere knowledge of the law something criminal. But the AOC immediately made it clear. She wasn't breaking anything. It was explaining the basic rights enshrined in the Constitution. And it was doing so for everyone, including those who had mistakenly already fallen under the ICE machine, even with U.S. citizenship. After all, there have been cases where children, sick people, citizens have been deported simply because the system didn't work, and if talking about it has become a threat to the authorities, then it is no longer democracy but a fight against the truth. And the AOC is not backing down. It does what every elected representative is obliged to do, to protect people. For Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, this conflict with ICE is not just another dispute with political opponents. It touches everyone. She makes it clear. Her job is to mediate between the law and the people, especially in those moments when government entities like ICE begin to act as if they themselves are outside the law. In recent years, there have been more and more reports of ICE agents breaking into homes without warrants, detaining people without explanation, threatening family members, and applying pressure. And all of this happens with the tacit approval of those who are supposed to enforce the law. It is cases like these that moved AOC to act. It is not going to remain silent when government agencies turn into instruments of fear. Meanwhile, Trump administration officials continue to criticize it. There are accusations of helping undocumented migrants, although she openly says she protects everyone, including U.S. citizens, because ICE is wrong, because they have a history of deporting people who have a right to be in the country. It's particularly ironic that those who speak the loudest about protection from tyranny are silent today when the government actually goes beyond the law. Where is their rhetoric about rights and freedom, about the Second Amendment, about fighting for America? When a woman says to people, "You have the right to ask, do you have a warrant?" they try to silence her. This isn't just politics anymore. It's a test of civic maturity, and AOC passes that test with an open mind. She says, "I'm not breaking the law, I'm defending it." And if it disturbs someone, it means that these people are not afraid of crime but of the truth. When Tom Homan once again stated that he intended to turn over materials on AOC to the Department of Justice, her response sounded not like a defense, but a challenge. "If you want to hold me accountable for telling people about their rights, try me. I'm here. I'm not afraid." It wasn't a theatrical retort. It was a moment of truth. The Congresswoman was clear. She is exercising her First Amendment right to free speech. She's not inciting riots. She's not obstructing investigations. She's educating. She educates. It protects. And if the government considers it a crime, then perhaps the system itself is criminal. She emphasizes, our rights are not eternal. They are not automatically activated. They have to be used to keep them going. Otherwise, they disappear. This is a principle that is at the heart of any democracy. If a person is afraid to say out loud that he knows the law, then democracy is already threatened. AOC acts not as a victim, but as a citizen who understands that silence does not protect. Only knowledge protects. And if the authorities are afraid of this knowledge, it means that they are not so sure of their rightness. She does not hide the fact that threats against her continue. But she is not going to retreat. For her, these attempts at pressure are not a cause for fear, but proof that her actions are hitting the target. You want to outlaw knowledge? You'll have to go through me. That is her strength. And that is the main fear of those who build their power not on respect, but on suppression. In many of her speeches, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez emphasizes, she was not born a politician. She did not come from a wealthy family, nor did she attend an elite private school. Before she was elected to Congress, she worked as a waitress, cleaning tables, living on the edge of survival. And it's that experience that makes her truly dangerous to those who are used to looking down on people. My story is ordinary, she says. It's not unique. It's about those who live from paycheck to paycheck, who are afraid that one letter, one diagnosis, or one mistake will ruin everything. These words resonate with millions of Americans because they recognize themselves in it. And that's what infuriates the elite. They speak for reality, not offices. When people like this get into power, they start talking about things that other politicians have ignored for years. She talks about basic things: housing, healthcare, food stability. These are not slogans, these are needs. And when a man in a suit starts calling these words radical, it speaks not about her, but about how far the government has drifted away from the people. She doesn't call herself a hero. She's just doing what she has to do. Speak up, responds, intervenes. She doesn't put herself above others. On the contrary, she emphasizes, I'm just like you. If I can break through, so can you. But only if we stand together. That's her real threat to the system. Because she's not telling the story of the loner. She's saying, this is the story of millions, and I'm just voicing it. While Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is trying to use her platform to defend the rights of ordinary people, something strange is happening at the top, or more precisely, the absurd. During one of the hearings, it became known that one of the senior officials of the Trump administration had set up a makeup room in the Pentagon. Yes, you heard right. While the country is struggling with crises, someone in the leadership is taking care of the tonal basis and lighting for selfies. At first glance, this is just a joke. But if you dig deeper, it's a symptom of power that has lost touch with reality. While the AOC is talking about deportations, illegal detentions, broken families, someone in the government is taking care of concealer. This is not just an imbalance of priorities, it is a mockery of the people. During the congressional debate, several deputies even joked that state secrets are worse protected than the cosmetic bag of the Secretary of Defense. Everyone was laughing, but there was bitterness behind the laughter. Because it's true. In a country where fear is used as a tool, and the external is more important than the internal, it becomes scary not for the government, but for society. And that's why voices like the AOC's are so important. Because she's not afraid to call a spade, because she doesn't play theater. She's talking about life, And he urges us to do the same, not to be silent, not to turn away, not to be afraid. You've watched Forgotten Roads. If you've listened to the end, you're not indifferent. Support us with a subscription and a like. And if you liked this issue, leave in the comments. Because today, even a simple gesture of support is an act of civic solidarity.